Welcome you all in the class of environmental science. Student, today we are going to discuss about the ecosystem. What is ecosystem? Okay, and what is the structure and function of the ecosystem? So before going into the details, first we will discuss what is ecosystem. Okay, in which branch we study this? Okay, German. Okay, anybody want to say something? So there is a branch that is called ecology. So that is there was one German biologist who coined this term, Ernst Haeckel, in 1869. Ecology. So it combines two words, oikos meaning household or home, and logos means study. Okay, so this is also the same thing, means study of our surrounding. So ecology also denote that this is the study of our surrounding. So whatever we study in the environmental science, that will come in the branch ecology. So what we basically study in this branch, we study the interaction of organisms with its environment, with its home. So what is our home? Our surrounding is our home. So how the organisms interact with surroundings. So in our last classes, in the unit 1, we have discussed lot of things about the surrounding, means that is physical environment. Physical means how living organisms interact with the physical environment. That all will come in the ecology. And we also know now at this time, we also know how to define our environment. What is our environment? Living organisms living in the physical environment. So our surrounding is our environment. So in the ecology, we study how the organisms interact with the physical components. Okay. So this is we are going to study how the living organism interact with its surrounding. Now we know the environment. What is environment? It consists of different components like biosphere, atmosphere, hydrosphere, lithosphere. Okay, we can call means water, land. So these are the different components, air and living beings. So these are all the components of environment. Now we are going to study how these organisms interact with each other, with its physical surrounding, physical environment. Okay. So this is the branch. Next. In 1935, there is one biologist, Arthur Tansley. So he proposed the term. He proposed the concept of energy model involving ecosystems and energy. Means organisms interact with the physical environment. So he has defined this in terms of energy model. Means you already know whenever we exchange anything, means we do any work, so we need the energy. So energy is the main concept here. Whenever we interact with anything, there is the energy exchange. So that is the important concept what Tansley defined. So he has also defined the ecosystems. So in the ecosystem, we are going to study how organisms interact with each other. That system is called ecosystem, like river, pond. This is one example. Forest. So in the forest, so any ecosystem has a boundary, like forest. In the forest ecosystem, we have different kinds of animals, plants. We also have land, air. So everything is available there. So forest can survive independently. So that is called ecosystem. That is one example of ecosystem, forest. River is another ecosystem. Okay, so how the organisms interact with each other? Whenever any organism feed on other organism, there is an exchange of energy. You can say in the food chain, what is there? There is a transfer of energy from one trophic level to another. We are going to discuss this also. Because animal dependent on the plants. Plants are the producers. Like goat feed on the grass. So there is an energy exchange. So energy is important here. Energy transfer is important here. What Tansley proposed. 1935 described an ecosystem as a group of biotic communities of species. So we all are living organisms, plants and animals. So we are interacting with one another and with their non-living means physical environment. We are also interacting with the physical environment, exchanging energy and matter. Okay, we eat something, then we get the energy. Okay, so goat feed on the grass, then who feed on the goat? Fox feed on the goat. So there is the exchange of energy. Are you getting what I am saying? Are you getting?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So the flow of energy is important. If system will survive if there is energy exchange. If there is no energy exchange or it is reducing, that system cannot survive. Okay, flow of energy is important. Cycling of materials and community are the components of for making an ecosystem functional. We can say there is the ecosystem is functional. That system is surviving if there is the exchange of energy. If there is any missing link, if there is no change in the energy, that means system is not surviving. So we should find out the missing link whenever any system is not surviving. In the village we can see all the ponds, they are going to die. They have become extinct. So what is happening? There is something missing. Means there will be no sufficient water or anything will be missing from the physical component. Then no living component will be there. Living component will be there if there is a sufficient resources or physical resources. So it depends. The flow of energy is important. Cycling of material. That means the system energy, there is an energy change and the communities are surviving in that system. We can say the ecosystem is functional. Living community of plants and animals in any areas together with the non-living component. This is the definition. We have already discussed like soil, air, water. This constitute the ecosystem. So this is the definition. We know what is the environment, like living organism. This is biotic component, and there is one another component that is called abiotic component. Means physical environment. So living environment, living thing and physical environment, that will come in the ecosystem. So in the ecosystem, they are functional, means they are interacting with each other. So that उस यूनिट को हम कहते हैं कि इकोसिस्टम, वो पूरा सिस्टम है उसको हम कहते हैं. These constitute the ecosystem. Living communities interacting with non-living environment, physical environment, that makes the ecosystem. Is it clear to you? What is ecosystem? Interaction is important here. Flow of energy is important here. That makes the system complete. That means ecosystem is working. Are you getting? So this is the definition of ecosystem. Ecosystem we can divide into different types based on the structure, like terrestrial or land based ecosystem, aquatic ecosystem in water. So if it is land based, we can call terrestrial ecosystem. If it is water based, then we can call it aquatic ecosystem. what is the example of terrestrial ecosystem? Forest. And which one is the example of aquatic ecosystem? River, pond. That is the example of aquatic ecosystem. So these form the two major habitat conditions for the Earth's living organisms. So depending on the habitat, we are defining the ecosystem. Like forest has the different kinds of habitat and river has the different kind of habitat. So in the river we have water. So only the organisms that can live in the water, they can survive, like fishes and all the aquatic animals. They live in the river or pond. In the pond we can have crocodiles or snakes or different kinds of animals. They can survive there. Okay, frog. So these are the different kinds of small animals, small or big animals. They can survive in the pond.
Yes? को इन कर लीजिए.
I miss. He is in classroom or not? They can join. Okay. Shreya. So, Shreya has not joined the classroom. There is a permission. You can join. This is your classroom. So, ecosystem can be divided into different types based on the land. If it is land based, that is terrestrial ecosystem. If it is water based, that is aquatic ecosystem. I have given you the example of both of these types. Okay, so in the forest, organisms interact with each other. Okay, like in the pond, the small bees and small insects, they feed on the plants like bees and who feed on this insect? Frog. Who feed on the frog? Snakes. And who will feed on the snakes? Peacock. Okay, so there is a chain. The organisms are dependent on each other for energy requirement. Why they are feeding on each other? Means they need the energy to survive. They need the energy to work. Okay, so in the different kinds of habitat like water, and there is the different kinds of systems. So this is I am discussing the example of pond, aquatic ecosystem. So this is the food chain that I am defining now. So there is the flow of energy. You can see the flow of energy from one trophic level to another. Why bees feed on the flowers? To suck the means like some kind of chemical arum, okay, that is required to survive. So for their food or for their energy, they are dependent on the plants. Okay, and frog feed on the insects. So the chain, food chain is food chain, we can say that is it shows the function. The ecosystem is surviving. Show the system is surviving. That is the functional ecosystem. Means so these forms the two major habitat condition for the Earth's living organism. So these are two major type, like the land based forest ecosystem and pond. So these are two different types, aquatic ecosystem and terrestrial ecosystem. I have given you the example of each one. At a subglobal level, okay, so we can also define the big geographical region. Okay, big ecosystems like Eurasia called the palaeartic realm, South and Southeast Asia, which India form a major part, is the Oriental realm. Okay, North America is Nearctic realm. South America forms the Neotrophical realm. Africa, the Ethiopian realm, and Australia, the Australian realm. So here you can see these are the major biogeographical regions. So we have divided into the different parts. So you can, on the sub-global level, you can define the ecosystem. These are the big system. So when we consider our Earth, so these are the different biogeographical regions. On the basis of habitat, these are also the big ecosystem on the basis of the habitat or climate. So these biogeographical regions are defined. Major biogeographical regions are defined. Okay, so we can also define the system, and there are the different name like grassland ecosystem, or different kinds of ecosystem. Okay, tundra ecosystem. So there are the different biozone. We will also discuss about these in the coming lectures. So on the basis of rainfall, temperature and climate, there are the big ecosystem, big biosphere zone that we can consider, like tropical rainforest. So rainfall is more than 200 centimeter per year. So that is means all around the year. So on the basis of the climate and climatic conditions and temperature, so we can also define the ecosystem. So that are the big ecosystems. Desert. Okay, so only 30% rainfall is there. 30% per year means centimeter per year. So it depends on the how much rainfall is there, what is the condition, what are the different climatic condition. Okay, we will study those regions in the biodiversity part also. Now we are discussing today what is our aim to define the ecosystem. At the national level or state level, this forms biogeographic regions. So there are several distinctive geographical regions in the India, the Himalayas. You know the Himalayas. So our neighboring countries also share the boundaries, the Himalayas. So we cannot say that all the Himalayas comes in the India. The Himalayas is on the boundary. Nepal and other countries. Okay, so who are the neighbor countries, they are also sharing the Himalayas. Gangetic Plains. Okay, Central India, Highlands of Central India, the Western and Eastern Ghats. Semi-arid desert in the west. Deccan Plateau, coastal belts, and the Andaman and Nicobar. So these are the different biogeographical regions also of India, in the India. So our neighboring countries also share these regions. Okay, so in these big regions, big geographical regions, we have diverse kind of plant. We can find the diverse kinds of animal, flora and fauna. In the Nicobar Island also we can see there is a variety of flowers which is endemic to that region, that cannot be found anywhere else. So there are so many endemic varieties. It depends on the habitat. So each biogeographical region has the different climates. It depends on the climates and environment, which type of plants and which type of flora and fauna will be found there. So it depends on the climate. Western and Eastern Ghats. So there are the different kinds of flora and fauna that is found there. In the desert we have the different kinds of plants. Short, stunt with the stunt growth. In the desert we will find the plants of short height, short heighted plant with the stunted growth. In the cold region we will find the plants with the needle-like leaves, long and needle-like leaves. Coniferous plants, coniferous forest we have in the cold region. So it depends on the climates. In the coastal areas we will have the different kinds of plants and animals. So it depends. These geographically distinctive areas have plants and animals that have been adapted to live in each of these regions. So it is based on the climate. Climate is important here. Because these biogeographical regions have distinct climate and geographical regions. Rainfall means physical conditions vary from biogeographical regions among. Okay. So these organisms, all the plants and animals are adapted to this. So they survive in that conditions. So for each region we can find the diverse kinds of plants. In the biodiversity biodiversity unit, we will also study different kinds of plants and animals according to these regions. So these are the also examples of big ecosystem or big biosphere zone we can say. Okay. On the basis of the habitat, if the habitat is similar, you can say that is the one. But ecosystems, we generally say the forest is one ecosystem, river is one ecosystem if it has the boundary. But these biogeographical regions, these also have some boundaries or some distinct climate or biogeographical regions like Himalayas. So it depends on the geographical structure also, and there is a similar kind of habitat, means temperature is same, rainfall pattern is same, then we can call that, means that are the big system, big ecosystems. Is it clear to you what is the concept of ecosystem? So this was all about the means what is ecosystem. Now you know. Do you have any question? Yes, anybody from the class? I think I lost the connection. Okay, there was a disconnection in the class. No problem. So I have recorded the class. Okay, can you tell me when there was a disconnection? Are you able to see the screen?
No.
Okay. Can you tell me what I was discussing? Okay. Okay. This I have discussed. I was on this. So I was discussing about this different biogeographical regions. So on the basis of the same climate and same environment, we can define the distinct biogeographical regions like Gangetic Plains, Island of Central India, Western and Eastern Ghats. So on the basis of Deccan Plateau, the coastal belts, Andaman and Nicobar, on the basis of same climate and same, we can say the same habitat of same geographical region. So because these biogeographical regions share the same habitat, means distinct. For Gangetic Plains we have the same habitat, for the Western and Eastern Ghat we have same habitat. So the plants and animals have are of distinct varieties, like diverse varieties. So we can find there the distinct varieties of diverse varieties of plants and animals that are adapted to that condition. So it is based on the climate, it is based on the geographical region, what are the condition there, which type of land is found there, which type of climate is there. It is based on the temperature, rainfall, climatic conditions. Okay, like in the Andaman Nicobar, so we have the distinct varieties of the flowers, so that are endemic to that region, that is not found anywhere else. So for each region we can have some endemic varieties. In the cold forest, in the cold region, we can find out the plants with the needle like leaves, long leaves. So in the desert we can have the short plants with the stunted growth, short heighted plants. So it depends on the climates. They share the same environment, we can call that the same biogeographical region, or we can say these are the also big ecosystems. Like, so this was the concept of the ecosystem. This is clear to you or not? Now everybody knows what is ecosystem. This is clear to you or not? If you have any question, you can ask. So this was the definition of ecosystem. I have given you some examples of the ecosystem. What is ecosystem? Organisms interact with this physical environment and exchange the energy. That makes the ecosystem. Okay, organisms and physical environment, that is a part of ecosystem, and there is the exchange of energy also. So that's define the ecosystem. So now we are going to study the structure and function of an ecosystem. So although it needs some more lectures, so now today we are just introducing this concept. What is the structure and function? What is the structure? Biotic component and abiotic component. So that are the important component of the ecosystem. Structure, that is the structure. Biological communities and abiotic components. What is the abiotic components? Physical environment. So there are the two basic components of ecosystem. In the living component, in the biotic component, means living component, the first means in the ecosystem we have two components, biotic and abiotic, living and non-living. Now come to the living part. In the living component we also have two components, autotrophic components and heterotrophic components. Okay, do you know about this? What is autotrophic, what is heterotrophic? Can anybody of you tell me what is this? Can anybody of you tell me? Autotrophic means we are talking about the living beings. They dependent for their food and nutrition means on itself. They do not depend on others. They synthesize their own food, like plants. Plants synthesize their own food in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll. They trap the solar energy. They convert the solar energy into chemical energy using the chlorophyll and carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. So all animals exhale the carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. That carbon dioxide is taken up by the plants, and they use that carbon dioxide and solar energy. They convert these into the chemical energy. So there is one special chemical structure that is found in the pigment, that is found in the plants. We call that chlorophyll. That is the green pigment. We call that chlorophyll. So there is one reaction that is called photosynthesis. Using the photosynthesis reaction, plants synthesize the food. We have the another component, heterotrophic. So plants synthesize the food. We are all dependent. All animals are dependent on the plants for our food. So we all are heterotrophic component. We all have heterotrophic type of nutrition. Okay, plants are producers, so they are autotrophic, and we all animals are heterotrophic. Is it clear to you? Is it clear to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So in the living component also we have two different types of like animal and plants. So all the animals are heterotrophic and all the plants are producers. ऑटोट्रॉफिक कंपोनेंट्स में क्या है, इसमें लिखा है. So it convert energy. Okay, that is the same thing is written here. Synthesize complex organic molecules. Heterotrophs feed on the food manufactured by the autotrophs. So plants are the producer. So I mean the human also, we only do the processing. Whatever we do in the kitchen, that is the processing of the food that is already have been synthesized by the plants. The heterotroph recover energy by breaking down the complex organic molecules. Whenever we eat the food, we get the energy. So metabolism occur in our stomach or intestine. There is the breakdown of the organic molecules. Then we get the energy to do any work, to do any mechanical work or any physical work, we need the energy. So that is the process. Ecosystem comprises of abiotic, producers and consumers, decomposers. So we can these are the different components. Abiotic, producer autotrophic होते हैं वो, consumers, all the consumers are heterotrophic. Abiotic component, we have already discussed so many things about this in the previous lectures also. It is physical environment. What is abiotic environment? Means physical. What is this component of ecosystem? That is physical atmosphere, land, air and land, air, water. Now come to the producers, consumers and decomposers. Producer we know that are plants, consumers, we all animals are consumers. Decomposers. Now who are the decomposers? All the microorganisms, all the small organisms, fungi that decompose the food. So during the rainfall there is a large population. The population of all the decomposers increased in the rainfall season. So they are responsible for the decaying of the dead organic matter like bones and dead organs, dead bodies. So all the decomposers helps in that. So they used to clean the system. So decomposers play an important role in the decomposition of the dead organic matter of plants, dead leaves, dead organs or dead bodies of the animals also. So they all are the decomposers. They have the important role in the atmosphere or in our environment. If there is no decomposers, there will be a strong smell in the in our atmosphere, in our surrounding. We cannot stay even. So there will be the foul smell or the ecosystem will become dirty if there is a no decomposer. So they play the great role. So the non-living substance called abiotic include factors that we already know: light, temperature, pressure, soil, water, carbon dioxide, pH, minerals. So these are all the physical and non-living components that are also important. Light is important. How much light is there reach at the on that earth part of that region. Temperature is important. Which type of temperature is there? There should be a suitable temperature. If there is a suitable temperature, there will be decomposers. All the bacteria can live there. So in the decomposers, we also have the bacteria, microorganisms, all the fungi, and so they live in the suitable temperature. Moderate temperature, moderate climate is favorable for the presence of decomposers. So pressure, there should be the suitable temperature, soil, water, carbon dioxide. So these are all needed by the decomposers also, and this all means everybody needs this. Oxygen, we also need oxygen. So that is the non-living environment. So oxygen is not here, so it is generally thought to be considered the symbol of the life, the oxygen we should have. So whenever there will be a suitable climate, there will be the life. Now we know what is the decomposer. So these are all the part of the ecosystem. Okay. So the physical and chemical component of an ecosystem constitutes is abiotic structure. Abiotic means non-living component. So it includes soil, geographical, climatic factors. Each biogeographical region has a distinct climate, and there is the energy exchange between the biotic component and abiotic, means the living organism and non-living. We exchange the energy with our environment. We do the respiration. We do different kind of activities. So we take the energy from the environment and we also give the energy to there. So there is the exchange of the energy. We exhale the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, nutrients and toxic substance. We also release the toxic substance in the atmosphere. So the producers are heterotroph. They are mainly green plants, algae, and we can also divide the producer into two different types: micro vegetation and macro vegetation. Okay. So these are the two different on the basis of the structure. So producers can make their own food by using the carbon dioxide. I have already explained to you, chlorophyll is the pigment that is used in this process. That process is called photosynthesis. There are some organisms, they can also produce the organic matter through the oxidation of certain chemical in the absence of sunlight. Okay, so they also synthesize the food. There are some organisms also. So plants are the producer. We have already discussed about this. So bacteria, we call them the chemosynthetic organisms because they are also synthesizing the food. Chemoautotrophs, we call them chemoautotrophs. At the ocean depth, there is a presence of those bacteria. Chemoautotrophic bacteria using the heat available at the earth. So they use the heat. So they are living at the sea bottom, earth core, and they convert the heat into the dissolved hydrogen sulfide and carbon dioxide into the organic compound. So they convert. They use the dissolved hydrogen sulfide and carbon dioxide and they synthesize, they convert that into the organic compound. So these microorganisms are called chemoautotrophs. So they work at the sea bottom, ocean depth. So those bacteria are called chemosynthetic organisms, or we also call them chemoautotrophs because they are autotrophs. They give the energy to other organisms. So they are synthesizing their own food. So we call them. So other than producers, these are the also producers. These are chemosynthetic organisms. Bacteria are also chemosynthetic. Okay. So this was all about the ecosystem. Now lecture is over. If you have any question, you can ask. Okay. You can also give the 1 minute. Just first write down the name of the class EVS. EVS for chemical. ECE class. Now type your attendance in the chat box, then you can leave the class. You will be having the next class. Type your attendance in the chat box, then you can leave the class. First type the attendance. Then you can join your next class. Do you have any question, then you can ask. If you have any query, you can ask. No query? Okay, just write down your attendance. Write down your attendance in the chat box, though don't forget it. No need to write the branch name. Today you have the separate class, okay? You just write down your name. Everybody has not given the attendance. There is only few names. Where are others? There was loss of connection. You just write down again. If the name is left, just check your name in the chat box. You type it again if it is left. Give your attendance. I think attendance of the few people are missing. There was disconnection. Write down your attendance in the chat box. Now class is over. You leave the class and join your other class. Thank you. Bye.